What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's team profile. For this one, I thought we'd freshen things up a little bit and look at a team from Italy's Serie A. So without any further ado, let's kick off with FC Internazionale, also known more commonly as Inter Milan. Now, starting off with the Nerazzurri, we look at the man between the sticks in Jan Sommer. Now, Sommer joined the Nerazzurri to replace outgoing goalkeeper Andre Onana, and I think Jan Sommer did a very good job last season. He proved to be a great defensive goalkeeper. He's not the kind of goalkeeper who wants to rush out and apply pressure in a kind of sweeper keeper role. He likes to stay in between the sticks, just make the box his own. He's got a very commanding presence. He's kind of like a defensive general for Inter. You could see him barking orders at the defenders in front of him. He's solid, he's stable, he's got great reflexes, and I think in Jan Sommer, Inter have a great leader between the sticks. Speaking of the defensive line, the first defender I'd like to talk about is Stefan de Vrij. Now, in Stefan de Vrij, I think Inter have that veteran centre-back with a lot of experience to his name. De Vrij knows that he's not as young as he used to be, so he can rely on his experience and his intelligence instead to be the game changer when Inter are playing against some very speedy and quick-footed attacking players. Partnering him at the back, I think on the left-hand side of the defensive trio, we will see Bastoni. Now, Bastoni is younger than De Vrij, but he's also very physical. He's a very tall player and he's very strong. Bastoni is the kind of player who likes to use his physicality and his strength, coupled with his intelligence and his ability to read the game, to sort of just nullify the attack or the ability and the pace of opposition attacking players. Next up on the right hand side of the defense, I think we will see Benjamin Pavard. Now, Pavard, like Bastoni, is very young, but Pavard is also very quick. He's the defender with the most pace. And I think in Pavard, we will see the player who goes up a little bit higher than the other two centre-backs to just sort of support the attack, give the midfielders an extra option to pass the ball to, allow them to spread the ball across the pitch, and then use his great long passing range to just pick out players in the attacking third instead. On the left-hand side of the field for Inter, I think we will see Federico Di Marco. Di Marco is a player who I think has great passing accuracy, great passing range, and bags of stamina. Di Marco will run forward, find himself in the attacking third to support Inter's attacks, and then if they lose the ball, you'll see him run back with just as much energy and endurance to perform his defensive duties as well. On the right-hand side, I think we will see Dutch wide man Denzel Dumfries. Now, Dumfries as well loves to get forward to support the attack, but we don't really see Dumfries doing too much defensive work. He loves to get to the corner flag in the opposition half and deliver crosses from there, or just provide an additional body out wide to just overwhelm the opposition wingbacks and just provide too many outlets for them to cover and just sow seeds of confusion and chaos amongst the opposition defense. In terms of the midfield, I think the first player we will see is Hakan Çalhanoğlu. In Çalhanoğlu, Inter have a midfield general, a player who loves to dictate the tempo of the play, dictate the speed at which the game is played, receiving the ball, and before it's even reached his feet, already aware of where he's going to move it to. Çalhanoğlu can do a bit in terms of defense as well, but it's his ability to pick players out, his ability to dictate the tempo and the speed at which the game is played that I think allows Hakan Çalhanoğlu to shine very brightly in this Inter team. Next up, I want to talk about Nicolo Barella. Now, Barella is the youngest of the three midfield players that Inter will probably field, and he's the one with the most stamina, the most energy, and the most pace. You'll see Barella trying to instigate quick 1-2s with the other players around him and just overwhelm the opposition with quick passing, with numbers, with movement, and to just put his strikers in good goal-scoring opportunities. And finally, we will see Armenian Henrik Mkhitaryan. Now, while Çalhanoğlu likes to play deeper and Barella likes to dictate the play, Mkhitaryan is the player who loves to get at the opposition. He's not the kind of player who's going to run with the ball at his feet and take players on in 1v1 situations. But Mkhitaryan is that kind of player who just loves to arrive late into the box, just sort of distract the opposition by pulling a defender away, or if they don't put somebody to mark him and pick him out, Mkhitaryan is the kind of player who loves to arrive late and take shots from out of the box, receiving balls from that right side of the wing or the left side and then just slotting it past the keeper from range. Mkhitaryan is a midfielder who loves to score goals. Up front, the first player I think we will see is Marcus Thuram. Now, Thuram was brought in to fill the void left vacant by Romelu Lukaku. Inter had a bit of a problem last season where they were relying on certain players a little bit too much to create and score the goals. Thuram comes in and just alleviates all of that pressure. This is a player with pace, with dribbling ability. He's the player who loves to get 1v1 with the opposition defenders and then beat them with a quick feint or with his pace, and then either take a shot himself because he is an established goal scorer or look to play somebody else in. Marcus Thuram is a striker with the greatest team mentality that I think I have seen in a very long time. Partnering Thuram up front, I think we will see the true number 9 of Inter in Lautaro Martinez. Martinez was the player who, in the previous seasons, was expected to score and create when he had Romelu Lukaku with him. He had a player to take a bit of pressure off him. But after Lukaku left, there was a lot of pressure on Martinez and the Argentine striker just struggled a little bit too much. Thuram was introduced into the squad and the two of them picked up some fantastic chemistry almost immediately. Martinez is a player with great pace, great finishing ability. This is a player who loves to score goals, loves to move off the ball, get himself into good positions to receive the ball, and then finish with his next touch. You will not see Lautaro Martinez taking too many touches on the ball. He wants to score goals, and it's his ability to find the back of the net that makes him such a valuable part of Inter Milan's team. In terms of the tactics that the Nerazzurri will use this season, Simeone Inzaghi likes to have his team set up in a 3-5-2 formation. They used this to fantastic effect in the Serie A last season. What this does is it sort of allows Inter to sort of keep the ball centrally, just focus all of their attacks through the spine of the field and just tear through the heart of the opposition. More often than not, we see the opposition try to pick players out in the heart of the field, and that's where we see players like DiMarco and Dumfries just sneak behind enemy lines from out wide, and then we'll see them released and have this entire space in front of them from where they are all the way up to the corner flag, just to work with, to either get crosses in or to cut in and just create havoc in the opposition box. Now, picking these players out at range would be difficult for most players, but for the three midfielders at Inter, Barella, Mkhitaryan and Calhanoglu, this is child's play. Their passing ability is probably their best trait. It's an ability where they're just allowed to dictate how the game is played, using their range, using their speed, using their tempo, just to sort of overwhelm the opposition. All of these players are also very flexible. These three midfield maestros, we will see them rotating, with Mkhitaryan either trying to lean into that number 10 role to try and get goals, or maybe alternatively we will see Calhanoglu leaning into that number 10 role to try and just dictate play and provide a final ball for somebody to finish, or we could even see Barella in there as well. What I like about the way they have this midfield trio set up is Barella starts off at the base of this triangle with Mkhitaryan and Calhanoglu in front of him. We could then later on in the game see them switch, with Calhanoglu and Mkhitaryan taking a more central midfield or holding midfield role, while Barella is given license to roam in that entire pocket of space between the opposition defense and their midfield, sort of functioning as a number 10 playmaker. This team knows exactly how to counter, how to use the space, how to create the space, how to overwhelm teams everywhere. Despite the fact that they have just one player on each wing, you'll see these players doing both defensive and offensive duties very, very well. I think also because Inter know they don't exactly have too many wide players who can do this role, they go in with just one out on either wing. The formation is used to compensate for the lack of wide players, keeping the ball centrally. And then if DiMarco goes up too far and is left stranded, we will see whichever one of those centre backs is on the left side of that triangle shift in to cover for him as he gets back. On the left side, I think it will be Bastoni covering for DiMarco. And on the right, I think it will be Benjamin Pavard covering for Denzel Dumfries. These two centre-backs as well are crucial when the team is looking to attack. You'll see them move forward and then the remaining two centre-backs will shift more centrally. That centre-back who goes forward then has the license to play as a deep-lying playmaker, with Mkhitaryan, Calhanoglu or Barella putting the ball back at the centre-back's feet for him to then play long balls directly through to Marcus Thuram, Lautaro Martinez, or whichever one of the wingers has that complete wing free to work with. Okay, last season was quite good for the Nerazzurri. It was their best league campaign in the last 5 years. Inter went from finishing third in the previous season to finishing first, improving their points tally from 72 points to a whopping 94 points. Inter managed to wrap up the league quite early on, and they left the other teams fighting for scraps and second and third spot. Teams like Milan, Juventus just couldn't keep up with the pace of Inter. In the Coppa Italia, however, the Nerazzurri were a little bit more disappointing. Where they won the tournament in the previous season, beating Fiorentina in the final, they were knocked out in the round of 16 against Bologna. The same could be said for the UEFA Champions League, where in the previous season, Inter made it to the final where they were defeated by Manchester City. This time, they were knocked out again in the round of 16 by Atletico Madrid. Inter did, however, manage to maintain their good form in the Supercoppa Italia, managing to lift their trophy once again. Domestically, in terms of the league, it was a fantastic season for the Nerazzurri. They had the most wins, they had the least losses in the last 5 years, but unfortunately there was a bit of an increase in the amount of draws. All in all, however, quite a successful season for them. In terms of a defensive verdict, I really like Jan Sommer as a goalkeeper for Inter, but I'm not completely sold on the replacements that they have for him. These players are not exactly tested, and I think they need a little bit more experience to be at the level of an Inter Milan player. In terms of the wing-backs, they do have replacements for DiMarco and Dumfries in Carlos Augusto on the left and Matteo Darmian on the right. But these players as well will either be expected to attack or defend. Unlike DiMarco and Dumfries, I don't think these two players can do both. Nevertheless, I think Inter have a very, very good defensive unit. So from me, they get a 4 out of 5. In terms of their midfield, all three of those players, Mkhitaryan, Calhanoglu and Barella, are all ball players. They love to have the ball, they love to work with the ball. They keep the control and they dictate the tempo. I think Inter have very good depth in that midfield role. I think if they're looking for a player to come on and just continue what they're doing, they can look to Fratesi. If they're looking for a player to come on and play a more defensive role, they can look at Asllani. If they need a player to come in, provide a number 10 playmaker or a player who can run at the opposition from midfield and just take players on, they now have Piotr Zielinski, who they managed to snatch away from Napoli. All in all, Inter get a 4 out of 5 from me for their midfield as well. Up front, the strike duo of Marcus Thuram and Lautaro Martinez was incredible last season. They were completely on fire. They had great chemistry, great understanding. They were completely on the same page, and that's exactly what Inter missed in the previous season domestically. They do have replacements for these players as well. Correa can come off the bench and provide that second striker or supporting striker kind of role, while Arnautovic can come off the bench and provide a true number 9 and goal scorer for the team if it's necessary. However, my problem with Correa and Arnautovic is they can only perform one of those roles. Arnautovic can only be a number 9 and Correa can only be a supporting striker. And when you look at Marcus Thuram and Lautaro Martinez, they're so flexible that they can do both of these jobs if it's necessary. And we often saw that last season, where one would drop in deep to collect the ball, the other would then harass the defense by playing as a number 9 target man. All in all up front, I think Inter get a 4 out of 5 from me as well, bringing their total to a nice round 12 out of 15. In terms of a forecast for the season going forward, I think Inter are going to want to win the Scudetto once again and maintain their hold on the Serie A title. In terms of the Coppa Italia, I think Inter can make it to a final year as well. I think, however, winning the final might prove to be a little bit too challenging for them, with, I think, a bit of stamina issues and injuries coming into play around that period of the season, but I expect to see them in the final. In the Champions League, I think this becomes a little bit difficult for Inter. We've already seen that sometimes this team needs to prioritize certain matches simply because of fixture congestion. And I think it'll be difficult for them to perform in the Champions League if they have big matches like the Milan derby or the derby against Juventus or matches against Napoli slotted in between important knockout fixtures in the Champions League. Nevertheless, I do expect to see Inter Milan at least in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. This is a team that wants to win trophies. They want to grow their trophy cabinet. They want to continue to rack up as much silverware as they can. And I see a very good unit, a very good team with everybody on the same page and everybody feeling the team spirit when I look at FC Internazionale. Hi, thank you for making it to the end of this video. We really appreciate the watch time and the fact that you took some time out of your day to spend it with us talking about the sport that we all love. If you enjoyed the content, why not, drop a like down below or comment in the comment section. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. And I mean, while you are here right now, have a look at some of our old videos too. They should be appearing on the screen right now, along with that subscribe button. So you know exactly what to do. Thank you so much. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And have a great day out there. And we hope to see you again very, very soon. Thanks. Stay safe.